Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's Bengals Training Camp Report. It's brought to you by Medical Mutual, the official health insurer of the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm Dan Hoard, alongside my broadcast partner, former Bengals offensive lineman Dave Lapham. And the practice schedule changed today. The Bengals were originally scheduled to begin practicing at 2:50 this afternoon. They moved it up to 11 this morning. You can see A.J. Green was among the guys out there this morning. And even before they took the practice field early today to try to beat bad weather, they had a very important team meeting with Mike Brown and the Brown family to discuss social justice initiatives. And it sounds like there's going to be a plan of action coming forward from the Bengals sometime in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to what that plan of action is, Dan. I'm excited about it. And, you know, the locker room in the NFL and all sports is like a melting pot. And really, it's like a big brotherhood in there. There's no race. There's no religious differences. There's no social injustices as such. I mean, if the world lived like people lived in the locker room, it'd be a much better place for sure. I think based on also what Paul Brown did, he was kind of, he broke the color barrier basically in the National Football League. When he brought Marion Motley into the National Football League, it was like Jackie Robinson coming to Major League Baseball. So, Mike Brown is very aware, obviously lived through all of that. So there's some history here with the Cincinnati Bengals organization. The players, I think, we're very excited to hear about, and I think the plan going forward is going to be a good one.
So on to practice. The Bengals will have a scrimmage coming up on Sunday night. And over the last couple of days, they've spent a lot of time working on special teams.
They have. They've really gotten after it special teams-wise. It's been some live situations. There'll be some live special teams coverage and returns in the scrimmage on Sunday night. And then really, during the course of this week, like yesterday's practice on Thursday and today's practice were like Wednesday and Thursday practices during the regular season. There was goal line and short yardage. Situational football was done today. Special teams period, big special teams period yesterday, big special teams period today. So they're getting ready for the game. Tomorrow's just a walkthrough. Then basically the game is the scrimmage on Sunday night. They'll have Monday off. They're going to have another scrimmage on Thursday because they start the season Sunday, Thursday. So they're going to try to get the players into that routine, get their body clock timed up right, and and get after it. And then they'll have a few more days, just like when they play the Colts on Thursday night. They have 9 days to get ready for the opener, and they'll have 9 days to get ready for the opener against the Chargers, but then only 4 days to go up to Cleveland and play them.
When it comes to A.J. Green, obviously the key is to have him ready to go for that season opener against the Chargers, but you asked him the following question yesterday. Do you just want to stay healthy until then and play, or do you need reps? Would you like to play in the upcoming scrimmages? And he said he wants to and needs to get out there.
He's a rep guy, Dan. Some guys are like that. Some guys, can get away with it, not having the repetition. But with A.J. Green, repetition breeds comfort level. No matter how long he's played, how great he's played, he has a routine that he has to get to get himself ready. He has to go through to get himself ready, and that includes full speed contact reps. But when you look at AJ, when you look at Tate, when you look at T. Higgins, Dan, when they decide to go big with a big receiver package, they got some big receivers. And Joe Burrow has shown that he can throw that 50-50 ball, that contested catch ball. He's got a great touch and a great feel for that. And guys are going to go up. It's going to be interesting. They can go big at receiver. They can have John Ross in there and go fast. They can have, Tyler Boyd obviously involved in the slot. I mean, they have a bunch of different ways they can go from a personnel package standpoint. The wide receiver position, one of the deepest and better positions on the football team for sure.
There's Tyler Boyd. It's amazing. He's had an excellent camp, and yet it almost seems like he's being taken for granted. We've been watching A.J. Green, wondering when he'd be able to go full speed. John Ross obviously had to leave the team for a while. Auden Tate has been spectacular with some of the catches that he's made, and Tyler Boyd just keeps producing day after day.
He does, and the guys that Joe Burrow has had the most reps with, Tyler Boyd, Tate, those guys, they're in sync. I mean, Joe Burrow is in sync with those guys. They've gotten the repetition. So it's kind of like it's a balancing act. you want to make sure that everybody's ready for September 13th. But like AJ said, I need some full speed reps to get in sync, get timed up with Joe Burrow. And man, he's excited about Joe Burrow as well. He just put a 15-year career on him. He says he's going to be great for 15 years. That's high praise from number 18 for sure.
So we see Joe Burrow working with running backs on these drills. Joe Mixon did not practice today, the third day in a row that he has not taken part in practice. It's been reported that he's been dealing with migraines. Head coach Zach Taylor was asked about that today, and I guess it was implied that maybe is this a matter of his contract, and Zach said, no, he's always been honest with us. He's being honest with us in this case, so we just have to hope that Joe will be back from those migraines sometime soon.
Yeah, maybe he's got the migraines from the contract dispute. Maybe they're giving him a headache. Who knows? But I do know that you want to get him back as quickly as you possibly can. There's no doubt about that, and he's vitally important to the success of the offense. And I'm not saying that he would necessarily play in very many of the plays in the scrimmage on Sunday. They're going to have a thump period, which isn't tackling, taking people to the ground. And I think AJ and other guys may participate in that. But once it goes live, full speed, taking people to the ground, you won't see a lot of those players in there. But it's going to be interesting because they're going to have officials, Dan. So to me, the players, looking at the early stages of the season, what will the level of play be like? Will there be a lot of penalties? Will there be guys lining up improperly in formations? Will there be false starts? Will the officials, they're not working. The officials aren't. By now, the officials have been to scrimmage camp a bunch of times for the Bengals, getting their reps, and they're missing that full speed. You know, you can watch Zoom. You can have Zoom press conferences or conferences, and you can watch as much tape as you want until you get on the field and you have to move to get yourself in position to make a call, and then train your eyes right to make the call. That's repetition. So are the officials going to have problems in the early stages of the season? What will their game be like? Will the players tackle well? Will the tackling be crisp enough? Will there be a lot of penalties? It's going to be very interesting to see how this whole thing unfolds, and this will be the first time the players will experience officials on Sunday night, and hopefully when they have their scrimmage next Thursday, there'll be officials involved again, because I think both parties need it. There's three teams in the field, both of the football teams and the officiating crew, and they all need work.
Now we move over to the linebacker drills, and obviously we have been keeping an eye throughout camp at the three drafted rookies in particular. 55, we saw him briefly, Logan Wilson. 59 is Akeem Davis-Gaither. 51 is Marcus Bailey. They've all had their moments, Lap. Has any of those guys stood out more than the other two to you?
You know, I think that I think they're all as advertised. You know, I think Wilson and Davis-Gaither have done really, really well, and Bailey's not far behind. You know, I mean, I think all three of them are going to be in the mix. We just spoke with Darren Simmons earlier in the day today, and he is super excited about having those linebackers contributing to his special teams, because honestly, the last couple of years, the Bengals special teams have had fewer linebackers contributing than almost any team in the National Football League. That's not going to be the case anymore. I mean, you know, they're going to have now. They're not going to have, you know, the old veteran. He's not going to be out there and running down, covering kicks and punts. But they're going to have the three young guys running down there and covering kicks and punts. And it's going to be, I think, very, very interesting to see what kind of a contribution they make, not only at the line of scrimmage defensively in sub packages, but on special teams as well. And Dan, they can all run. They really can pick them up and put them down. They can move those feet, and looks like they understand football geometry. They take good angles. They take good pursuit angles to the football, and that's something that, you know, will pay dividends for sure once games start.
Josh Bynes is number 56, the free agent they signed from the Baltimore Ravens. Jermaine Pratt, 57, back for his second year. More often than not, those two guys have come out as the so-called ones in the base defense with 5 defensive backs and 2 linebackers, but that seems to still be a work in progress with a couple of scrimmages before their regular season opener against the Chargers. I think it's still up in the air as to which guys are going to begin the season as the so-called starting linebackers.
Yeah, it's going to be meritocracy, and Al Golden has done a great job with him, I think, as a linebacker coach. Mixing and matching a little bit. Lou Anarumo, the defensive coordinator, they want to see their best combinations. And mix and match, and then make some decisions based on what you're seeing. And these scrimmages are going to be a big part of that evaluation process. But yeah, I agree with you, Dan. I think the next few practices are vitally important at linebacker and in the offensive line because of injury and birth of children and a bunch of things. A lot of guys have had to play a bunch of different positions. And so they're mixing and matching a little bit. Opportunity has shown itself for some guys, and now it's a matter of, Dan, who becomes the most consistent. You can't your practices can't be here one day, here the other, here the next day, back down here the other. Can't be like that. That graph, the coach has to know what to expect out of you on a snap by snap basis. Every practice, every game, every week. I mean, it's very, very important. You can't be up and down, drives coaches nuts.
You mentioned birth of children. That's a reference to Michael Jordan, who became a dad a few days ago. He's expected to be back with the team tomorrow, so he can be plugged back in to the offensive line at that point. Number 2 quarterback, Ryan Finley, has missed the last 3 practices. He has been ill. That's given Jake Dolegala the opportunity to get more snaps than at any point in his Bengals practice career.
It has, and it's up to Jake Dolegala to be ready to take advantage of the opportunity. That's you hate to get a chance because of injury, because of illness, because of whatever the situation. But when that does present itself, you have to be ready to strike. You have to be ready to show what you have and that you've readied yourself for that opportunity. And I'll tell you, a guy that has done that in my mind in the offensive line, Adeniji. I mean, Michael Jordan has been, involved with the birth of his child. Bobby Hart had a calf injury, and all of a sudden, Adeniji is here, there, and everywhere. So beware. He's playing both guards. He's playing both tackles. And I'm telling you, Dan, this kid is an athlete. Adeniji has very, very sweet feet. I mean, he has got some foot quickness, and I'd watch out for him. I'm not saying he's ready yet, but it depends on how quickly he develops. I know he's very intelligent. I can tell because he's not like leaning over to the center of the tackle when he's playing guard. Like, what do I do? What do I do? He's not leaning over to the guard when he's playing tackle. He knows what he's supposed to do. He knows how he's supposed to get it done. And I'm telling you, he's practiced very well. Adeniji, I think they got a steal. I mean, to get this kid in the late rounds like they did, he's playing. His footwork and his athleticism and his body, I mean, I'm shocked he didn't go in the second or third round. I mean, I think he's a better prospect than a lot of guys around the league that went that high. I'm very, very impressed with what Adeniji has done because of opportunity that he's been given. He's ready. He's stepped up and shown something.
Hakeem Adeniji has Andrew Whitworth's old number, 77, and he has been moving back and forth between tackle and guard, much like Whit did early in his Bengals career. Lap, let's look ahead to Sunday night scrimmage. We will broadcast it from 6 to 7:30 on 700 WLW. They'll be inside the stadium. The coaches will be up in the press box, the ones that normally would be up there. So they will try to simulate the third preseason game as much as they possibly can, considering they'll be competing against themselves still.
Right. And that's the thing. I mean, at least they've been practicing against each other for a lot of days now, so they know each other very, very well. They know each other's strengths, weaknesses, best moves, things that they can do to counter. So that's going to be interesting. And it'll get them ready a little bit. It won't be like a preseason game where you're going against somebody that you haven't practiced against for days for the first time. And that can be eye-opening, I can tell you. I mean, my very first preseason game was against the Miami Dolphins, who had just gone undefeated. And I'm like, man, I got to go against Manny Fernandez and Nick Bonacani, and what the heck? And it's when you're at that game speed tempo, it's a little bit different. And that's what the third preseason game was like. Veterans played, a half, cooled down, warmed back up. So they're going to try to simulate that as much as possible. And then, like we said, schedule the following week will be like playing the Colts on that Thursday night and get their body clock's right and all that sort of thing. It's going to be interesting. So hopefully, fingers crossed, everything you can cross, fingers, toes, anything that your body can cross it. No injuries. Don't lose anybody to any sort of malady from a football standpoint on Sunday night.
We are definitely looking forward to it. We are sorry that fans can't be there under these circumstances. Normally, we'd have a nice crowd for a Bengals scrimmage inside of Paul Brown Stadium. But again, we hope that you'll be able to listen to our broadcast on the radio, 6 to 7:30 Sunday night on 700 WLW. For Dave Lapham, I'm Dan Hoard. Thanks for checking out this training camp report on Bengals.com and the Bengals platforms.